Forgiveness in marriage is a lot like mountain climbing. It's a challenge even for the most practiced and fit. And it's a mountain that has to be climbed not once or once in a while, but every day. Let's learn the ropes of this forgiveness business. I'm going to do this in 2 parts. The first part, this video, is going to be about extending forgiveness for those everyday kind of falls in an otherwise healthy marriage. And in part 2, our second video, I will show you how to request forgiveness when you're the one who's tumbled into a crevice. You need to know how to do both because you're gonna have to do both. On Mount Forgiveness, nobody's a perfect climber.
You and me, we could be on top of the world.
Hi, I'm Ramona Zabriskie. And although women in over 70 countries think of me as their marriage mentor, their wife saver, there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't have to save myself and my marriage, because there's not a day that goes by that I don't end up bumping into him or colliding into my loving husband of 40 plus years. So how have we managed to ascend Mount Forgiveness over and over and over again through the decades? Well, here's the secret. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to stay tethered. Just like a duo of real mountain climbers are tied together, relying on those belaying ropes, those dynamic ropes, to absorb the energy if one of them missteps or slips up and falls. So you and your husband need to remain tied together, tethered to your marital commitment through all the mishaps and offenses and misunderstandings that are a part of any normal, evolving, developing marital relationship. Then, with that belaying rope securely in place, that firm and steadfast commitment to the relationship, if you're the one that's falling into the crevice, you can perform what mountain climbers call a self-arrest to stop the fall. And now, if he's the one that's tumbling into the pit, you can enact what is called a crevice rescue to pull him out or let him out of the pit. Let's make this a multiple choice. Extending forgiveness is not A, condoning, failing to see the action as wrong and in need of forgiveness. B, excusing, not holding the offender as responsible for the action. C, forgetting, removing awareness of the offense from your consciousness. D, pardoning, a representative of society such as a judge granting a pass for an acknowledged offense. E, reconciliation, restoration of the relationship. Or F, none of the above. F gets you an A. Extending forgiveness is not condoning, excusing, forgetting, pardoning, or reconciliation. What is it? You mean, why is it? Because it will make me a good person? Because everyone tells me to do it and wants me to do it? Because it's the fastest way to heal, a real shortcut. The right why, because it's the only one that sticks, is because it's freeing. The best why, the only why behind forgiveness that has any chance of having absolute, lasting, staying power, is that everyday forgiveness frees not only your spouse, but you. Forgiveness that is about freedom means no chains, no prisoners, and no expectation of a certain outcome. On the days when I feel love and compassion and forgiveness in my life, I'm happier and more attractive. to other people. Those feelings are the mystical keys to beauty and happiness. It's so simple, and it doesn't cost a thing. Thankfully, extending the everyday kind of forgiveness, it doesn't cost anything, and it is very simple because, get this, it is not an emotion. It's a choice. And I can make a choice. Let me scrounge around in my mountain climbing paraphernalia backpack and pull out 3 tools that have worked for me time and time again. 3 steps that all begin with the letter R. Step 1, reassign him value. First, I have to admit that he's not a monster chomping at the bit to toss me over the edge, because actually he's the one down in the crevice dreading hypothermia as much as I am. And listen, I don't want to wait to grant him "you're not a monster" status until he says the words, "I'm sorry." That could take a while. That could take so much of a while that we both end up freezing to death. Why? Because a lot of guys never really get around to saying, "I'm sorry," not at least in the way we really want them to. But they do often apologize for their actions with their actions long before they use their words. I know what you did, and it's not okay, but I recognize that you're more than that. Step 2, revenge not. Hey you, what's the opposite of forgiveness? Unforgiveness? That's right, unforgiveness. And it's not a passive state. Unforgiveness is a state of hostility, and hostility is negative stress. And negative stress raises blood pressure and cortisol levels. And raised blood pressure and cortisol levels strain the heart and the immune system. And a strained heart and immune system means, well, now we're talking life and death, aren't we? It has been said, because it's so obvious, that vengeance is not freedom. Vengeance is a prison. It chains us. It chains that story, that incident to our story for all time. Now, who needs that? Remember, our why for forgiveness is because it is freeing. So I'm not going to take vengeance on him. I'm going to put away that pickaxe and the screws. I know what you did, and it's not okay. But I recognize that you are more than that, and I'm not going to hurt you back. Step 3, righting the relationship. Righting the relationship, or getting things back to normal. It's like a snow bridge that you'd be better off crossing as soon as possible after an incident happens. Why? Because when we argue as spouses, we tend to focus on who proves the other wrong. Focusing on all of that only makes the problem worse and multiplies it. If you persist in that tug of war of right and wrong, the path back to normal gets mushier and mushier as the day or the weeks or the months or the years wear on. Getting back to solid ground, well, it just gets harder and harder. In marriage, the right relationship has to be more important than being right. So don't wait to say, "I know what you did, and it's not okay, but I recognize that you are more than that, and I'm not going to hurt you back. I don't want to hold us to this thing anymore. Let's move on." Remember, forgiveness, extending forgiveness, is not an emotion, it's a choice. Forgiveness is also a two-way street, and sometimes we're going one direction, we're extending forgiveness, and sometimes we're going the other direction, requesting forgiveness. I'm going to show you in video 2 of this series on everyday forgiveness in marriage how to say I'm sorry and to really mean it. Of course, I'd love to show you and teach you a lot of things, because a lot more than apologies go into a successful marriage, into being a really successful wife and feeling like a successful woman. Consider my private mentoring program if you'd like to do that one-on-one, or join the Loving Sisterhood at the Wife Savers course and community, my one-of-a-kind personal development and marriage improvement program, where I will teach you the unique Wife Savers principles that are revolutionizing women's lives in over 70 countries. The links to both the mentoring program and the course and community are in the description box below. As always, it is just an honor to be your wife saver. See you next time in video 2.